Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cat's Corner, very first episode of the Cat's Corner. Thanks for watching. By the way, if you don't mind, maybe reach down and hit the subscribe button. Our first episode has a great guest. He's one of our all-time favorites. He's a constant delight. We say hello to Lance Lynn. Hi, Lance.
Hello, how are you? I got the first ever one, huh?
The first of the Cat's Corner. It's a new thing we're doing.
You guys are
And
reaching with me being the first one.
No, there's excitement. There's excitement that Lance Lynn has signed, making his return to the Cardinals. So you signed awful quickly. So I'm sure waiting out there, you could have had other offers. It seems to me that you were hoping for a return to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been my third time to free agency, so I had a good idea how it works now. So I knew where I wanted to be, knew what was out there, knew the other teams that were involved, and Mo and I had a conversation. We were able to make it work pretty quick. You can't be mad. You know where you want to go, and the team gives you a chance to come back to where it started and give the team a chance to win. And for me, it's about trying to win another championship. And what better place to do it than to where I started at.
So you said can't be mad. When you left, there was a little bad blood. I think it was a narrative, like you weren't happy with Mo. What really went on, and was that just part of the business of baseball?
Yeah, I think the older you get, the more you understand the business of baseball and how things go back and forth. I think if things were different, back then, if I would have known the things I know now, then I think things would have been different. I think when you first get to free agency, everybody always tells you to, chase certain things and try to get as much money as you can, this or that. And then you don't realize you kind of throw things out that, might actually be more important. So over the course of my career, I've learned the things that are important. I've grown a lot. A lot of things have changed in my life since then. So, it's been a good ride. So I can't complain on how it's went, but it's also been, it was a crazy time then, and the game is crazy as it's ever going to be. So just enjoy it, be where you want to be, make sure your family's happy, and then just go take care of your teammates and compete. So that's what I try to do now.
So right now you're living in Illinois, about an hour and a half away. So that obviously factored into your decision, right?
Yeah, whenever your family can be as much at home as possible and be able to come see you pitch, you can't beat it. I grew up in Indianapolis too, so a lot of my family's from there too, and that's a 3.5 hour drive away. So the Midwest is where I was born and raised. I know it very well. I know how to navigate the highways very well around here. So it should be a fun summer for us.
So the Cardinals just signed Sonny Gray. Had a chance to talk to him. You pitched with him, and he said you're both kind of the same in that you're not going to be smiling at batters. You both have an edge. Tell me a little bit about Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny's going to compete from his days when he was at Vanderbilt and all that. Sonny knows how to compete, and he knows how to compete at a high level. And you've seen that over the course of his career. So it's going to be an exciting group we have. You look at the group all together. There's guys that bring a lot of different elements, and as a staff, you need that. The number one thing is to be available. I think we've got a group that's available, and they're going to be able to put up innings. And then if you're able to do that, bullpens are going to get better because you don't have to overuse them and put them in spots to where they're going to be exposed by throwing too many innings. And then if you do all that, it gives the offense a chance to know who's going to be out there, know what they're about, and find a rhythm. So starting pitching goes a long way. I know as much as baseball people try to push starters out, the best teams and the teams that win a lot of games have deep starting pitching.
The starting rotation for the Cardinals averages 35 years of age. You've talked about how you've grown and you gotten smarter along the way. Is that a positive or a negative? Because to be honest, sometimes the older guys break down along the
All these kids are taught to throw 100 innings and then call it a season. So I think you're starting to see that these older guys are like fine wines, and you know that you're going to get 180 innings out of them or more. They know what it takes. They know what you got to do day in and day out to get your body right to be able to take your starts, go deep into games, and do all those things. You look at this group. This group was taught to pitch deep into games and all that. When we were in the minor leagues, we weren't taught to go 5 innings and say, "Hey, we did our job today." if you didn't go 6, 7 innings when I first came up, then you didn't do your job. I remember Chris Carpenter and those guys telling you, like, hey, 5 innings isn't enough. There's no other way to say it. So you're able to strap it on, figure out how to get through 7 innings, turn the ball over to your setup man, your closer, and you're going to win a lot of games.
So your numbers last year were not great. I know you weren't happy with the final result. Also, why so many home runs, Lance?
I don't know. It was a weird year. I think they go in waves, where you give up a lot, and then I'll have waves where, I have where I give up less than 20 or in the teens. So I think it was one of those years. Once it started happening, it was a snowball effect. I'd be cruising in a game, be in the 6 innings, and then I give up 2 solo homers, and then through 6+ innings of 3-run baseball. But people are going to talk about the 3 solo homers you give up or something like that. So there was games where it bit me, and there was games where it didn't. So I just need to make sure that you don't give up the big one where it's a multi-run homer, and things like that. But also, you got to stay, doing what you do and what got you here. But you also need to adapt a little bit and figure out, hey, what counts where I get myself into. I think I was getting myself into a lot of hitters counts, where I give up homers and stuff like that. And then just learning a lot of new people in the game, a lot of young players that just swing it no matter anything's thrown up there. So the days of setting them up with strike one and strike two are over, because these guys are not going to take pitches and do things like that. So I got to change a little bit of my mindset on how I attack, know the hitters, learn the new craze of the guys are getting their best swing off from the on deck circle. To be honest with you, these guys are ready to swing when they show up. They're not looking, guys swinging at 3 pitches I threw him last year, who's never seen me before. He's had 3 at bats, swung at all 3 pitches, put them all in play, and he's never seen me before. Back in the day, you'd get benched for that. Now it's like, hey, good at bats. So things are different. That's part of it, and you got to adapt with it. I think last year was a big learning curve for me, but I also think I learned a lot. And then there's a lot of things that I added to my repertoire of pitches that I'll be able to use differently this year, and know when to use them, know how to use them, and I'm looking forward to working with the pitching coaches on locking those in.
I'm a little confused because as a guy who's interviewed you many times, I was under the impression that all you throw are fastballs.
Yeah, technically, if you were to call it, they're still 90% all fastballs. So, it just depends on how you look at it. So, there's still a lot of fastballs thrown, but there's other ways to and other pitches that I can sprinkle in now for sure that work well. And if you don't keep improving, keep trying to add on, you'll be out of the game. Like I said, I gave up a lot of home runs last year, but I also damn near struck out 200 guys. So the stuff's still there. So we just got to figure out how not to give up the long ball, and things will be in a good spot.
So talking to your buddy John Mazalak about the signing of Lance Lynn, he said, "Look, Lance didn't have a great year last year. He knows he can be better. He's motivated. Like an edgy Lance Lynn is the Lance Lynn you want." How motivated are you to put last year behind you and settle in and have a Lance Lynn type season?
I mean, you're always motivated to succeed and be the best you possibly can be. That's why you play the game. That's why you compete. I think last year it's not so much putting it behind me; it's making sure that I use that to realize that, hey, I don't. If I was okay with the results and okay with all those things, I know I was done. I'm definitely not. You wake up in the mornings and you're like, hey, you're getting yourself ready to go. You're getting the body right and all that, but you're also thinking running back, bad pitch sequences and things like that to try to make sure you're better. So, when I start my throwing process and all that, and when we start throwing bullpens and stuff like that, there's going to be a lot different intensity on certain aspects to know that that's what the game's where the game's trending, and make sure that I'm kind of getting back there. So every pitcher goes through waves in their career when they got to do things differently and stuff like that. The weird thing about last year is, like I said, with the strikeouts and wins and innings, we're all in a good spot. There's just the home runs were just a outlandish, glaring, bad look, and that's the number one thing. So, but I can't go into the season thinking, hey, I can't give up any home runs. Home runs are going to happen. You still got to attack. You still got to make your pitches, and then sometimes they make good swings. But the number one thing is make sure you're prepared, make sure your body's right, make sure your mind's right, and last year with a little bit of a slap in the face, you're going to make sure you have that ready to go.
So you've talked about kind of over the years how you've kind of matured. I'm going to use the word matured, but you're still the Lance Lynn that's going to go after me, other people, going to be difficult for the media. I hope that rusty nail element of Lance Lynn is still in there.
I think that you've seen it over the course since I've left St. Louis. It's gotten worse. St. Louis, I remember back in the day, Adam used to tell me that I need to be nice to everybody. And I felt like I had to, do this or that. So, the smart aleck was there, but I think now you're seeing just the way I pitch, the way I compete, the way I'm not afraid to scream and get things going. So, those were things that were frowned upon early in my career to not show emotions. And now, they want everybody to show emotion. They want people to bat flip it out of the ballpark and stuff like that. So, the game has changed over the course of my career. But I also, it's able to let me be myself a little bit more. And, when it's all said and done, if you played this game long enough and you're able to do it the way you want to do it and be respectful, but also enjoy it and enjoy competing and showing some emotion, that's what it's all about.
So you've had a number of stops along the way from St. Louis, a bunch of places in between. Now you're back. I've always wondered how long does it take the local media in each of the cities in which you played? How long does it take them to understand Lance Lynn and how to kind of embrace what Lance brings to, say, a post game interview?
I think they learn pretty quick, to be honest with you. If you come at me with an answer or a question and I can give you a one word answer, you're going to get a one word answer. I'm not here to do your job and fill in a blank. If you want to ask me an educated question where I have to actually put some thought into it, I've got no problem answering it. But if you're going to give me a chance to say yes or no, you're going to get a yes or no because that's just not good. It's just not good work. I want you to earn it a little bit. You can't just come in here and have people fill in the blank for you. Everybody there in St. Louis is so used to Adam just, gosh darn it, I tip my cap and just fill in all the blanks. I'm not going to do that. If you give me a chance to go yes or no, you're going to get a yes or no, and then we'll go on our way because I got stuff to do.
Has it has it dawned on you that Adam, who I know you respect, goes about it so differently, and he's gone now, and you have a veteran rotation, but you're one of the veterans now. Lance Lynn will now be a leader in the clubhouse, and Lance does it a different way. Boy, we've come full circle here.
It's crazy. I told Adam that I was going to play longer than him. Well, like not longer in years wise, because I'm not trying to play till I'm 42. I don't know what he was doing, but I told him I was like, hey, I got to play while you're not active player in the major league, so I got to keep it going. So. Never would I thought it would be back in St. Louis. You just, you don't know what's going to happen, so you don't really think about it. You just kind of go. So to be back in St. Louis, it would have been nice to play with Adam again. Don't get me wrong. We enjoyed playing with each other on the WBC. We had a great time. But it's a different world, and we got a lot of guys coming in that have done a lot in this game, and I think you looked at St. Louis all in all with Yachty and Albert coming back and everybody leaving, and now Adam leaving. It's definitely going to be a different type of personality, I think, and that comes over time, and it's going to take some time for everyone to kind of find how they do it and all that. But that's what spring training's for. We don't have WBC this year, so everybody's going to be in camp and everybody's going to be learning each other, getting to know each other, and becoming a tight knit group. And if you're able to do that and have some fun and enjoy each other throughout the year, you got a chance to have a good team.
Were you surprised how awful last season was for the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, you look at just the talent offensively, let alone the arms that they have and stuff like that. So you were surprised at the win loss record. There's no other way to see it. I think you're looking at they had a similar thing with like I did personally, where things just kind of snowballed, and when you tried something it didn't work, and then it almost felt like it made it worse. And that was what happened. Those seasons happen. You just got to figure out how to flush it, learn from it, and I think as a group, everyone's probably learning from the mistakes and the bad, the losses and the bad season. When you have a losing record, you had a bad season. There's no way to say it. So the group's I think, gonna be hungry. There's gonna be some new faces, some new personalities and stuff like that, which always helps fix the things that might have happened the year before. So hopefully we can bring in some good vibes and figure out how to work together and become a good team.
Defensively last year, I don't think the Cardinals put their best foot forward, but they have gold glovers. They were playing guys in different positions. They had injuries and stuff, but you have Goldie, Arenado, other guys who have won gold gloves. How excited are you to pitch in front of a defense that should be really good?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that team, you're excited to go out there and compete for them. And that's the number one thing that I do. I'm going to go lay it all on the line. And I know that there's, I played against Goldie and Arenado for a long time, and I know they leave it all on the line. And as a group, we got to just make sure everybody's out there giving everything they got that day. No matter if they're not 100%, we just got to figure out how to get through the game, figure out how to win as a team. Everybody pulls the same direction, you got a good chance. So I'm looking forward to having those guys behind me, guys that can make plays, guys that are Gold Glovers, future Hall of Famers in my book with the two corner guys. So there's a lot of good baseball in this field, and there's a lot of young talent too that are trying to figure out who they are and how they can ascend in this game and become superstars because they have that talent also.
So when you think about your time in St. Louis, what stands out to you? What are the memories you think about being a Cardinal back in the day when you played here?
I think obviously the number one thing that's always going to stick out is World Series. To be able to play in a World Series as a rookie and win one, to be able to play in another World Series 2 years later. I remember a lot of playoff teams and things like that, and that's why you play the game. I started bouncing around and I made the playoffs a couple places here and there, but the number one thing that I remember is there's nothing like October baseball in St. Louis, and that's what brought me back. I want to have that feeling again. I want to be able to feel that, have the birds on your bat, to be able to have the fans in the stands. Because it doesn't matter what day of week it is, what time the game is, they're in the stands and they're cheering, and to be able to take them to October and have everybody cheering is what you miss and what you enjoyed the most.
So I'm gonna be delicate as I ask this. So I've heard some things. I don't know if it's Matt Holliday. Someone said that they heard something. Maybe they saw you on Brzezinski's podcast or whatever. But someone said that you're already starting your conditioning work. Is that something you're going to be doing a little bit more of? Have you started it? Where are you with that?
Yeah, I think when you get older, things sneak up on you. You think you're in a good spot, and you're like, "Ooh, you go back and watch yourself pitch a little bit. And you're like, man, I might need to time. It's time to change a few things up and get after it." My new bench coach and former teammate Daniel Descalzo told me if I give him a hard time, he's going to make me run more. And I was like, "Well, you have no pull. You're pretty much just a glorified schedule maker." So I'm not worried about him, but yeah, there's a lot of, as you know, I remember Holiday and Carpenter and those guys though in Westbrook. The older they got, they had to change things up, and that's where I'm at. I'm in the next phase of figuring out how I'm going to make sure my body lasts for as long as I want to play, and then also making sure that I stay in good shape. Right now, at the end of last year, I wasn't where I needed to be. There's no other way to say it, and I need to be better, and that's the plan.
Lance, I know it's going to be emotional when we finally get to see each other. I really do appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. We do appreciate that.
I mean, for me to be the first ever Cat's Corner guest, I'm honored to say the least. But we're gonna have a good time. But you better be on your A game because I will bury you as soon as I possibly can. I already warned Gibson and Sonny about your B to C at the best questions to be ready for them. So I'm looking forward.
Like you, the older I get, the better I get. I don't know if that's true. That's going to do it for this first edition of the Cat's Corner. Thanks for watching. On the way out, please hit the subscribe button. Lance, you're the best. I appreciate it. I really do. I look forward to it. I was pushing Lance Lynn. I'm pushing Joe Kelly, but I think you're going to be great.
All right. I'm looking forward to it too.